So hello everyone, welcome everyone to my presentation. So this is about sensory marketing with chapter 5 and 6. So in this today's talk, we will explore how smell, taste, and touch work physiologically, how they influence emotions and memory, and the last one is how brands use them to create stronger connections and drive sales. Along the way, I will share the real-world brand examples and give you some critical takeaways. So moving to the first one is about sensory principles for smells. So the first one is about characteristics of smells. The first one is about physiology of smell, and the first part is anatomy of smell. So our nose contains about 5 million olfactory cells. Their cells can detect over 1 trillion in distinct sense, but what makes smell special isn't just its range, it's where it connects in the brain. Unlike vision or hearing, scent information bypass the rational filtering part of the brain and goes straight to limbic system and the air's responsibility for emotion and memory. That's why the single whiff can instantly transport you to vivid memory, or your mother's kitchen, a high school classroom, or a vacation spot, something like that. And the next one is about the lowest, but yes, the most powerful sense. Interestingly, smells is the lowest our sense to register. It takes about 400 million seconds for a brain to process it, but it leaves the strongest and the longest lasting impression. Research shows that we remember scents with 65% accurately after 1 year compared to only 50% for visuals. So that is a big deal for brands that want to be remembered. Moving to the next one is about the unique features of auto system. So a scenic sense is about combined sense to create an entirely new perceptions. Smell is also what we call scenic sense. So think about the photoms channel no Wi-Fi isn't found in nature. It crosses brand of dozens of scents, note floral, woody, and smoky, layered together to create more unique. Twinkle stimulation. Stimulant stimulation. So some scents can also stimulate the twinkle knobs, giving us sensations beyond smell. Mint feel cool, steely, smells sharp, and feels burning. Then the last one is about generic vacation. Each person has unique olfactory receptors influencing sense perception. The next one is pathological of smell. The first one is about learned preferences. So here's something fascinating. Our sense preferences aren't fixed. They are learned. For example, a baby exposed to coffee in the warmth often grows with a tolerant even liking for slow smells, and culture plays a huge role. For example, European love strong cheeses like cheeses, but in parts of Asia, that smell is unpleasant. Or in Ethiopia, the scent of castor is associated with prosperity, while in the most Western country, this considered unpleasant. Moving to the next one is about first phenomenon. So this connection between scent and emotion is called permanent. The next one is about scent in environment and service and innovation. So service and so moving to this next part is about the sociality cultural. So the first one is about the personal factors. We have gender differences. Women generally more sensitive to smell. So this it is evident that the sensitivity during ovulation up to 10 million is stronger. Its impact is the sense of smell declines after nearly 22 years old. And the next one is about the cultural differences. So cultural norms define pleasant and unpleasant scents. For example, cheese loved in France but disliked in part of Asia, and the table of low or high emotional context scents unclear. Celebratory set of fundamental. The next one is sense symbolism. So the first one is about symbolism power. So phenomenon is about the certain vivid memory triggered by scent. So he is a French writer. Familiars described how the smell of Maladine cake dipped in the tea triggered an entire flow of childhood memories. Marketers tapped into this by using knowledge scent. These are about how the smell of fresh baked cookies in real estate, showing that make a house like home. About the next one is service scent in service and environment. So many service businesses use ambient scent to shape customer behavior. For example, hotel as signature fatness in lobbies to create a welcoming atmosphere. So about its benefit is improve mood, increase dwell time and spending, and boost staff productivity and goal setting. So it must be continued concurrent with environment for the best effect. For example, flower shop equal to flower scent, bakery equal to bread scent, for example, like that. Moving to the next one is about scent and behavior. So scent affects the critics, boost mood and condition, mean reduce stress and increase concentration. Valiant is about comfort, reduce anxiety, and lavender is about relaxation and sleep aid. cognition sense equal to higher product evaluation and sales. Moving to the next one is about the brand and product. So the first one is about sense in branding. So about the primary attribute like photo or coffee, where scent is the main product feature. So is this when scent is a main selling point. The second one is secondary attribute like a smell of new car, which adds emotional value. So this combine and create brand identity and differentiation. So by that we have marketing application. So the first one is about scent ads that we can craft and snip billboard, magazine and newspapers, or or we have some positive example. For example, Starbucks and nominal hotel where blueberry muffin stand in newspaper ads, and the negative one with the got multiple stops that make a public complaint and brand bolted. So moving to the next one is product evaluation and memory. So pleasant sense improve product evaluation and recall. For example, scent Benzo remembered better after 2 weeks than unscent, and product scents are more effective than ambient scent for brand memory. Moving to the next one is about scent branding and symbolism. So we have two parts in here. The first one is the auto-factory trademark. So legally registered scents. For example, in the US, where residents have the flowery milk scent in stores, or gradient have bumble gram scent sandals. So it's easy. This trademark also easier to register for product without natural scent. That means that the customer will easily remember to use based on that scent, and is also they treat that brand as that scent as a trademark when they remember to that brand. The next one is a signature scent that's not legally registered but iconic, create brand identity and emotional. For example, Western Hotel with the White Tea collection, or Singapore Airlines with Stephen Florian Weathers. So we have the key takeaways of the part. We have 5 main points. The first one is smell is the most emotional and memory linked sense. The second one is about cultural and personal factors shape scent perception. So it means that it depends on each culture, places or each individual that smell can affect to the customer's perception, and the customer also treat with the scent depending on that they treat that scent differently based on their culture. For example, in Vietnam they really like the scent of rose, maybe like that, but in another countries they just don't like it, and that don't increase them to make the purchase. So the marketer should focus on it. Ambient scents work best when congruent with environment. Product scents build strong brand recall because when the customer first the first impression of the customer when they enter the shop is about the smell. Maybe it's about smell when they can when they can you can um, um, fresh. I mean that when they can uh, inhale the smell, and that make them remember that brand, that store. I mean that the experience in that store than the others. So that means that it will build the brand recall. And the last one is sense branding. Whether trademark or signature is the powerful differentiator. So this point I just talked before. So moving to the next chapter is about sensory principles for touch. So the first one is about the introduction to the taste. So it developed it up. So the baby developed the sensory after birth meters over first few months. So this smell is their favorable perception, influenced by texture, temperature, color, and sound. This can evoke comfort, excitement, or nostalgia. So moving to the next one is physiology of this. So we have around 10 million taste buds. Each one detects all 5 basic tastes. It's about sweet, salty, bitter, and umami. So all these 5 factors will be talked before later. About the location, is have tips of a tone, slide, back, and all error detect all tastes with sensitivity variety. Moving to the next one is about 5 basic tests. As we can see in this slide, we have 5 one. The first one is good, create pleasure, comfort, and energy. The next one is short, create freshness, caution, or apathy stimulation. The next one is about the shorty, about create a essential mirror favor enhancement. The next one is about bitter, create warning, socification. For example, coffee or dark chocolate. And the last one is about umami, create fullness and satisfaction. So the marketers can remember this to create the right taste in the right situation to create a better customer experience. So beyond the basic, so fatty taste will link to the certified and taste. Otherwise, melodic taste can signal spoilage or contamination. Spicy hurt create sensation, not taste, and cooling sensation is about mental effect. Moving to the next one is about biological and cultural of taste. So we have 3 main points in here to remember. The first one is about learn the preferences. So this Uh, so so taste preferences develop through exposure, familiarity, bread liking, mood, exposure or effect, and cultural influence. Spice tolerant in Southeast Asia or Mexico, and squid preferences a preference in U.S. dessert versus substantial sweetness in Spain. The next one is emotional associations. It's about comfort foods, trigger dopamine release. Childhood foods equals to powerful loyalty, and this influence brand loyalty such as Coca-Cola and Pepsi preferences. The next one is about multi-sensory taste perception. So about the color changes this perception. For example, red drink equal to sweeter, sound creatiness affects perceived freshman. Texture is about creaminess linked to endurance, and temperature is about warm equal to comfort or cool equal to refreshment. So it's about the perception of the customer that I also replied in this chapter. So moving to the next part is about this in marketing. So we have product design and symbols. So three symbols equal to direct this experience. So we can see in the supermarket when the customer will have a trial, and in that time they can directly experience the product, and that is the direct this experience. And secondly, this is key in food, beverage, supplement, or oral care. So the marketer do in the this industry should focus more on the taste, because it is the key element to attract the customer. The next one is about multi-sensory packaging increase taste expectation. So when they when they experience a product, they will see the packaging first, so that it's the first impression of them. And when they see, when they use multisensory to do it, so they will have the when and they have the beautiful first impression of that, they will have the expectation of the taste of this that this. So they will hope that it will be delicious of it with their feel. So that is the reason why the multisensory packaging increased this experience. The next one is about coherent in this marketing. So product taste merge mass brand promise. Mismatch is mean that is equal to customer disappointment. So for example, healthy brand with overly good product will create will break the trust, because healthy will have the contract with the good product. So we don't we don't combine it together, it will break the trust, for example, like that. So we have, based on that, we have some case study about Starbucks overall and Lays, and about their campaign. Moving to the next one is about sensory principles for touch. So we have here is four tips of touch sensation. But firstly, let's come to the importance of touch. So touch is the first sense to develop in the world and create critical thought our life. It is the sense that we rely on to evaluate texture, temperature, weight, and shape, all of which influence our perception of quality. So, the fourth tips is about texture, increased smooth, well, and grainy. The next one is about temperature, includes warm, cold, and neutral. The next one is about weight. It means heavy feels stable and premium when light can feel cheap and fragile. And the last one is about shape. It's about ergonomic design feel more comfortable and user friendly. The next one is about sensory principles for touch. Again, in the same section. So the first one is about physiological impact of touch. So touch sends nonverbal messages about the brain. For example, soft fabric communicates comfort and care. Rough surface suggests rudeness and durability. Warm objects feel inviting, and heavy products are presented at higher quality. About the retailer application, so it's allowing customers to touch products significantly increase purchase likelihood due to the owner effect. The moment you touch something, or your brain starts treating it as yours. For example, Apple Store are the great example. Everything is on open display, so you can handle it without barriers. The next one is about haptic technology. So in the digital world, touch is recreated through haptics. So smartphones vibrant or notification. Game controllers stimulate recoil or resistance. VR gloves can mimic the texture of virtual objects. Um, and the next one is the next part, and the last part is about combining sense in marketing. So we have multisensory integration. Taste add smell equals to flavor perception. Touch add vision equals to quality perceptions. And we also have cross-modal effect as one sense influence to other. So the marketers should remember this to apply to their campaign. So moving to the last one is the key takeaways here. So we have four main points. So to warm up, smell, taste, and touch are credible, powerful, often work together and to create complete and brand experience. Smells connect directly to memory and emotion. Taste ties us culture, comfort, and anticipation. Touch builds confidence in quality and creates a sense of ownership. When brands align these senses with their identity and use them consistently, they create experiences that are not just seen or heard, but fully felt. And that's where marketing moves from being simply persuasive to being unforgettable. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you everyone for listening.